move on to the NFL. The biggest surprises of the season. Which teams are for real, which teams aren't. Lentz, take it away.
Uh, yeah, biggest surprises NFL. It's been quite a few surprises over this first quarter of the season. Surprise would be the Vikings. I feel like a lot of teams had them as their chic playoff team, new Super Bowl contender. Went down. It was like, well, they're not gonna be good. And then Peterson goes down. I was like, oh, they're definitely not gonna be good. Pretty good. And now it looks like they might have a semi-competent offense and a Bradford who looks like people thought he would look like coming out of Oklahoma. So I think they would be my biggest surprise thus far. Maybe Carolina's drop off, but I don't feel like that's a huge surprise. I think it's more of a realization that this is what we thought they would look like last year. Last year, all the issues that people thought they had on throughout the entire year, and then they resurfaced this year. The offensive line play, the run game, the offense as a whole, the inexperience from the receivers, the defense we thought would be pretty good, but there were questions about the secondary, and all those issues seem to be coming to light this year.
Yeah.
A year late, but that's what be happening. Then you got that old loser curse, hangover, whatever you want to call it. That seems to go with every in the Super Bowl. They don't really do too well the next year. So it's I think those would be my biggest two. Of course, Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. Player Carson Wentz would be my biggest surprise from the simple standpoint that he was third string.
Yeah.
I think the series string of events that happened, the circumstances that led to him starting, that he's the biggest surprise as far as an individual player, considering he wasn't even supposed to start. He wasn't even supposed to play it this year at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looked, from a rookie standpoint, very good as a rookie. I mean, with his lone interception coming on the last offensive play on against the Lions on Sunday, I mean, that's not too bad. I feel like those would be the two biggest surprises of the individual player. Teams, I feel like it's kind of hard. I think everyone's pretty muddled together. And we got about three teams at the top: the Patriots and the Broncos and the Steelers. And the three teams on the bottom, who you know are bad: the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Browns. Whew. Man, you got to feel for Hugh. If they can't have, I don't even think these quarterbacks are getting hurt now for Cleveland. They just don't want to play. It's ridiculous. This far, you got Charlie Whitehurst, who for some reason still in the league.
Not anymore. They cut him. They cut him.
Hey, I guess that's how it goes. But yeah, I think it's all still jumbled up right now. We didn't get a true sense of who the real contenders are. For the most part, who people thought would be true contenders, the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Chiefs are three teams that people thought would be serious contenders this year who have started the year off terribly. Still may take the next step and get better as the season progresses. But right now, I think all of them are 1-4. I think Chiefs might have 2 wins. I know it's coming off their bye. And a lot of that has to factor in with injuries and whatnot. But right there together. It's just no team really stands out. Patriots.
Yeah.
My biggest surprise, honestly, is the Falcons. I've been impressed
It's the same thing last year.
Yeah, but this feels different. Like because they're doing it And when I say they're doing it, like they're succeeding without Julio being really consistent. Like Matt Ryan is finding other sources of offense without having to go to him. I feel bad because Julio seems like he's going to break down at any moment. He seems like another Calvin Johnson in the sense that he has the big body, fast, and all of that. But because he takes so many hits, like it's just going to take its toll because Julio has a lot of nagging injuries now.
Mm-hmm.
I worry about that. But yeah, the Falcons, like Matt Ryan leads the NFL in total QBR now. And that's not really QBR is always like Matt Ryan, but not always first in the league after 5 weeks, Matt Ryan. Um, I feel like the defense, even though it doesn't seem like it, they're playing a bit better. Like Vic Beasley had a couple sacks. He finally showed up. Again, that was against Ty Sambrolio, who's trash. Sorry, Lance. But they get timely production from them. I've really been impressed with. I didn't think they were going to win at Denver. Denver's defense isn't as good as it was last year, and that's to be expected because they were historically great last year. But I didn't think that they were going to win, and they ended up winning because they're finding other sources of offense. That two-headed running attack and with Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman is really thriving right now. And more or less, that's kind of what's carrying their offense. Again, Julio is Julio in some games, but again, he's had a few games, I think, where he had 39 yards receiving, another one where he had less than that or a little bit more than the 39. So Matt Ryan's getting it done with other weapons, and I'm really impressed. It doesn't feel fluky like it did last year. It doesn't, and that's the team that we can say exposed Carolina's defense for being pretenders. Again, it's 5 weeks, but so far Carolina's defense looks bad. Lentz mentioned Minnesota. I'll take it even a step further and say Sam Bradford. I don't think anybody expected Bradford to be playing like this. And, Adam Thielen had 7 for 127 and a touchdown on Sunday. Adam Thielen. Like, not Stephon Diggs, not even Kyle Rudolph, but Adam Thielen. Like, I'm not sure what's going on there, but Bradford's doing work, and you can only give him props for that. So definitely Atlanta, definitely Sam Bradford. I would say my last surprise is I expected Cleveland to be better with Hugh there. I expected their offense to be more predictable. I mean, unpredictable, more creative. And I'm not putting it all on him, but it does just look like the same old Browns, really. And I'm hoping that he gets a chance to turn it around. But so far, like, it doesn't look good for them. I mean, they got whitewashed by the Patriots, which isn't a crime in itself, especially with Brady coming back. But, their rushing offense has been good. I think they were top 5 before they played the Patriots. So that's definitely good. But, yeah, it's just the same old with the Browns.
I'm starting to think the Browns just can't get better. I don't know what or why that is, but everything just seems to be going terribly for them on a regular basis. I'm with you. I thought they would be better with you. Obviously, not having a consistent quarterback is a problem because I don't think they've got a quarterback that started more than 3 games yet this season, or more than 2 really. So that's obviously a problem. But even with that, the defense doesn't seem to be there. The offense has got too many question marks. And the offense is really interesting because you got Terrell Pryor looks great as a receiver. Isaiah Crowell at one point, I didn't check the stats after this past weekend, but at one point he was averaging 6 yards a carry. It's like you have the weapons around on offense. You just got to figure out quarterback. The offensive line is relatively good. So it seems like they should be doing better, but they lose to everybody. I mean, they even lost to Miami, and Miami is terrible. I honestly don't think I've picked them to win any game this season just looking at the way things have gone, and they beat Cleveland. So it shows just how far down the Browns really are, and I can't really figure out why. But my biggest personal surprise is Arizona. There didn't seem like there was really much change between last year and this year for a team that in certain weeks looked like they couldn't be beat at all. There were some games last season I thought they were better than Carolina. And fast forward this year, they can't seem to run the ball, which is really disappointing, considering that they were, I think, that one of the top three rushing offenses last year. And then Carson Palmer doesn't look like the same guy. Granted, he's in his late 30s, so it may just be that time there where we get that drop off we're expecting from most older quarterbacks. But even with that, this team just looks and feels different. Like you said, with Atlanta looking and feeling more legit, this Arizona team just looks and feels worse. They don't seem like in any way, shape, or form that same Cardinals team that everybody was so excited about last year. I don't feel the same way you feel, Turner, about Atlanta. I think they're a playoff team, but I think that's kind of where it stops. I think that they're going to come to earth offensively, mainly because I just don't have any confidence in Kyle Shanahan. I don't think that he has the ability to make consistent adjustments. Teams are going to figure him out just like they did last year and pretty much every year of his career, except for his first year as the offense coordinator in Washington. And once he gets to that point where everybody's got him figured out, I think they're going to have to try to win games with their defense, and I don't know their defense is good enough for that. So I think that they've got enough of it figured out where they'll probably still make the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to be, an 11-5, 12-4 type season. I think they'll end up probably going 9-7, something along those lines. But the NFC South is just bad enough where pretty much all they have to do at this point is not suck. I think Carolina's got a hard time digging out of that hole, especially if they can't keep Cam Newton upright. Tampa just won't win without getting things figured out. They don't have much defense. Their kicker can't kick. Both of those are huge problems. And New Orleans is just giving up too many points. They from a defensive standpoint, they just don't have it. So the NFC South really is Atlantis for the taking right now. Minnesota's a huge surprise. I think this is what they thought they would be and nobody else saw before the season started. When they made the Sam Bradford trade, one of the things everybody kept saying is maybe this team really does feel like this is their year. And despite the injuries, particularly the injury to Adrian Peterson, it seems like the offense is actually doing better. I saw an article, and I think I talked about it a little bit either last week or week before, when Adrian Peterson went down, that talked about how it was a good thing for Minnesota because it frees Norv Turner from having to give him the ball. And I think that if you believe this article, he was kind of handcuffed and having to do certain things to keep Adrian Peterson involved. And now they don't have that, which I actually can see to an extent. I don't know that I trust them in the playoffs just yet because I still don't have a lot of confidence in Sam Bradford, but I've been really surprised by their play. The AFC team that I've been most excited about is actually Denver. Like you said, Turner, the defense isn't as good as they've been in the past, but they're still figuring it out, making stops when need be. And I don't think that losing this game this past weekend is really indicative of their play thus far, just because I don't think Paxton Lynch was really ready to get on the field. I think they would have preferred to give him a couple more weeks if possible, but Simeon got hurt. If Simeon comes back, I think he's supposed to be back on Thursday, right, Lance?
Yeah, he's starting on Thursday.
I think once he gets back into it, I think you'll continue to see them continue their winning ways. I'm actually really excited about Denver and the fact that they keep finding ways on offense to put up points. The defense is still playing pretty well, but offensively they're, in more ways than one, carrying their load. I think the team that disappointed me the most, even though I didn't expect them to be good this year, is Jacksonville, because they haven't really looked competitive. They've lost games but they haven't really been that competitive, which has been disappointing to me. And then the same thing with the Jets. And I'm gonna finish with them. I don't understand what is keeping them with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I think it really is just one of those things where they're looking at it now saying, you know what, we gave him this money, so we don't have a choice. We're going to stick in quarterback and die with him. Not unlike Kirk Cousins in Washington. I feel like that's kind of the same boat. I don't think that the Jets head coach's job is on the line necessarily. Like with the Redskins, if Kirk Cousins flames out, we fall apart this season, I think that he'll be out and Jay Gruden go with him. I don't necessarily think Todd Bowles' job is tied to Ryan Fitzpatrick's, but I do think that if he can't make it work with him, it's going to definitely affect his job security, like going forward. Even with that, I think I would still throw Geno in at some point and just see what he's got.
Yeah, I at this point I would still have Geno replace Fitzpatrick simply because Fitzpatrick is terrible and should have been re-signed in the first place. The topic for another day, but he's been terrible, man. There's no way around it. He has not been good. In the one game he was decent in, and that's because he couldn't take over at the end. It wasn't the defense couldn't stop him or anything. It's just he couldn't move the ball, and he hasn't been moving the ball all year. What you got to have some kind of switch up. It's just like the 49ers had. They needed like Chip Kelly, who I think was lying anyway, but completely blame. You know, it's not all his fault. We just need to infuse something else and try to get something jump started. You do the same thing with the Jets. And for the Jets in the AFC, you have more of a chance to make the playoffs. The 49ers don't have a chance to make the playoffs. But in reality, they don't have a chance. They don't have a team. The Jets have a team where they can still make the playoffs. They have the offensive weapons. The defense is decent, although it's not as good as it used to be, considering that Darrelle Revis isn't as good as it used to be. That front line is ridiculous. Sheldon Richardson, that is too much of there's nothing no one can do with that line. So if you can get some type of offense, some semblance of offense with Matt Forte, with Decker, with Marshall, you can get something going on with them, then you'll be okay. But that guy, he's not. I don't feel the same way as you feel with Atlanta, for the simple fact that this is exactly how they looked last year. Matt Ryan might not have been number one in QBR, but 6-0, 5-0 start in the beginning of last year was because of Coleman and Freeman burst out of nowhere on a run. I think the only difference that I can give you is he's not forcing it to Julio like he was last year. Like in the beginning of the year last year, he was forcing it to Julio. He had the running game going as well. I know because I had Freeman on fantasy and he was stacking up for me. And he was getting the run game with him. He was getting them in a little short passes to let him do his work. But he's not turning it over. And that's what really hurt them last year later on down the line. Matt Ryan turning the ball over. So I think that's a huge difference for them. Under control. As far as the Vikings, I think for Bradford, it's always been about health. He's always been accurate. He was accurate in college. He's a very accurate thrower of the ball, and he doesn't make bad decisions. But the Aaron Rodgers effect of he doesn't, and he's not as good as Aaron Rodgers to not take risks and get away with it. That's a huge issue for him. But right now, with the way their offense is, they got their top three offensive players in Diggs, Peterson, and they're still producing enough offense. But it's doing enough to move the ball because of that defense. My question is, once that defense stops making all these stops and stops getting all these turnovers and having to deal with these injuries that are happening on the defense side of the ball now, what do they do then? Will Sam Bradford be able to step up and make a play, make that key third down throw, the key third and sixth throw to keep the chain moving? running game to move the ball at all. Point of the article you're talking about that Turner no longer has to worry about force feeding Adrian Peterson the ball, which I can see not having to get him the ball, but he's still your best offensive threat.
Mm-hmm.
My Broncos, I didn't expect too much from them this year. I mean, I said it before the year, Paxton Lynch wouldn't be ready this year. We saw on Sunday that he is not ready at all, because that was a very winnable game against Atlanta. He is just not ready. Granted, our offense is not great. Our run game is decent. We got decent weapons on the outside, but he looked like a rookie. I can say for him, he looked like a rookie would look, and he made Atlanta's bad defense look good.
He did.
I think the Browns roster isn't that good. It's gotten more out of them than people realize. Like you said, he got Terrell Pryor looking like a legit receiver. And coming into the week, they had, I want to say it was the first or the second behind Dallas. Yeah. So they have looked decent. It's just their defense has been their stalwart for the last few years. And now that defense looks terrible. Like, where is Joe Hayden at? For so long, and now he's nowhere to be found. Like, the team does not look good whatsoever. And I'm hoping they give him a chance to stick around, get rid of him because they're 0-5. Because, I mean, I don't think anyone thought the Browns would be good. Sign RG3, everybody wrote him off anyway. I don't think, and they've actually been in the games too, which is, I guess, a testament to Hugh and what he's been doing, but it just can't close out. And then, as you said, with Jacksonville, I said it before the year. I said, I don't think this is going to be their year. They're not going to step up. Because young teams who look like they're going to take that step, they usually fall back, and then the year after they step up. They've looked terrible. Turner hit the nail on the head when he said in the offseason that Blake Bortles was going to come crash it back to earth. He was just throwing the ball up, and Hearns and Allen were just catching everything, and Robinson was just catching everything. So he's just throwing it up, and it's just they're not making those plays now. There's nothing they can really do. Probably win the division by default.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's a good team.
Yeah, I'm also, yeah, I've never been a Blake Bortles fan. I probably never will be again. His accuracy is just all over the place. So I don't know how you can be a functional NFL quarterback if you just can't make more or less simple throws that most NFL quarterbacks should make. I feel like I am a bit surprised at the Arizona Cardinals, but a lot of this just seems like this is a decline from Carson. Football Outsiders has Arizona's defense at 6th, and that's without opponent adjustments. Lentz's favorite thing, but so far they've been a good defense. I think Arizona's decline is based on Carson. And I mean, you know, people kind of foresaw that, even if at the time it was premature because of the playoff performance. This football season, man, I don't know about y'all, but like it just hasn't been the same. Like it seems like something is just not there for me. And then you got A-Rod looking disjointed. The football season isn't the same, and then A-Rod is looking disjointed. Something's not right about this. What you say?
One of the things that me and Lynch were talking about before we hopped on is that it seems like we've got some of the best defenses we've seen in recent memory all playing at the same time. Denver's defense was historically good last year, and they're still pretty good right now. Arizona, like you said, their defense is down from last year. They're still pretty good. The Vikings defense is absolutely smothering people. So I think, and those are just a couple of examples, but like Lentz said, the Jets defense, they've got their front seven is pretty exciting. There's some teams right now who are so far advanced on the defensive end. I think offenses are trying, like they're having a hard time catching up. There aren't the number of weapons that there have been in the past. We don't have as many franchise quarterbacks as you'd like to see. So the fact that so many defenses are dominating, you've got really good athletes. I think more athletes on the defensive end of the ball right now than the NFL has ever seen. I think defenses are just taking over right now. And we've gotten so used to over the last, 5 years, seeing the offense be able to do whatever they want, that seeing defenses kind of become prevalent is making a product look bad. I think we're kind of where we were, 2004, 2003, 2002, when they first stopped letting defensive backs push off. They first started the illegal contact rule, the one that killed Ricky Manning Jr.'s career.
I think that was after the playoffs of 2004. I think that was the year Peyton set the record.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the playoffs of that regular season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. It could have been the 2003 playoffs that precipitated that change in 2004. But whatever playoff game it was, where I think
that was 2005, because that was 4, where the Patriots just abused the Colts.
Yeah.
Off the line. And that's when the rules changed. And then a year after, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But really, the rules never changed. They just didn't enforce them. It was always in the rule book. But
it's crazy you say that. We were talking about that earlier, and I said that's probably what they'll do again. Is they already have the rules in the rule book. They just haven't been enforcing them, and they'll start enforcing them again.
Right.
Rather than.
But I think, honestly, dog, I think that's a lot of what's wrong with the NFL today. Listen, I've been watching the NFL, maybe not as much. Part of that is, number one, because my boy's not there anymore. But it's just like the games just haven't themselves, like the quality of the games has been bad. Like, I don't think I'm the only person that feels this way. Like, the quality of the games just it's just
no, you're definitely not.
It's not as good. And again, I can't put my finger on what specifically it is. I wish, I want to be able to say it specifically, but something just don't seem right.
For me, what I've seen from people